everyone. Welcome to the Lynn with Ben show. I'm your host, Ben Hawkins, and today we've got a real treat for you. I am joined here with Mr. Doug Yopp, the owner of the Ocean Air Realty. I've known Doug for a lot of years, worked with him for good gosh, I mean, I can't remember how long now, but I have a lot of respect for Doug and his company and his team and what they do as real estate professionals. And Doug, I know you all cover at the Ocean Air Realty, you cover a vast tract of land, if you will, in North Carolina. Can you tell our viewers a bit about that, kind of where your all's coverage areas are, offices, stuff like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks for having me, Ben. I appreciate it. Appreciate the partnership we've had for a lot of years, too. We've helped a lot of people get into their homes, haven't we?
Yes, we have. Yes, we have.
So our area is basically two areas. We have a team that covers here at the coast, and then we have a team in the Triangle area. The coast is where the company was founded. The Triangle is where I live. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. But our team here focuses primarily on Onslow, Pender, Duplin, New Hanover County. We get into Brunswick, too. We can go up to New Bern and past that as well. But that's kind of our sweet spot. Our coast office is in Holly Ridge. Our Triangle team focuses on Wake County, Johnson County, Durham County, Orange County, Chatham County. Kind of that's our sweet spot, too. But our team as a whole, because of the MLSs we're members of and where our agents can go and work, we can basically help anyone in North Carolina from Greensboro to basically the coast, all the way down. That's the South Carolina border. That's the northeastern corner of the state. We can get in the Outer Banks. Now, we don't get there all the time, but that's in our coverage area. We can help people in any of those places. And one thing that I really like about real estate is I worked in higher ed for over a decade, so I was sitting at a desk a lot. I'm happy to drive an hour, 2 hours one way. It beats sitting at a desk for 9 hours.
Amen to that.
You know? So I'm happy to go where the business are, where people who want my help are.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So don't let the name deceive you. It's not just homes by the ocean. It is truly a vast area in North Carolina. And I know Doug's team really represents what he has taught them well what basically Ocean Air Realty was founded upon, the values of service and professionalism. Doug, Ocean Air Realty's been around for a long time. Can you tell our viewers, how long, how it got started, the origins, if you will,
Absolutely.
of Ocean Air Realty?
So folks who are misled a little bit by Ocean Air, the Ocean Air name is an homage to my grandfather. So he started the company in 1979. My grandfather was a World War II veteran. He worked in the post office for a long time after he got out of the Army. And then after he retired from the post office, he started his real estate company. And it was Ocean Air Realty. And he started it in Holly Ridge, North Carolina, basically. Where our office is today is next door to where my grandparents lived.
That is so cool.
Yeah, my grandfather's name is on the building. The building used to be the post office. They didn't have a post office in Holly Ridge. My granddad built the building and rented it to the government for the post office. That's where our office is now. So because he had Ocean Air, when I started my own company, I brought the name back. My grandfather was just a one-man shop. He operated in real estate until he got a little bit older and a little sick, early 2000s. So it went away for a while, but when I decided to start my own company, I brought the name back just because it means so much to me. The logo underneath the shirt is the same one he had back in the 70s and 80s.
That is awesome. I love that. I love the family atmosphere that it brings, and the history behind that. I mean, I'm 43. I was born in 82, so he started that 3 years before I was born. So 46 years, almost 50 years of the Ocean Air Realty. That's quite an accomplishment. I love that. Doug, a lot of folks ask me on the regular. They'll call me, hey, Ben, what are interest rates doing? Kind of what's the housing market looking like? I know from my perspective as a lender how to answer those questions. How about your perspective as a realtor and business owner?
Sure, yeah.
Can you elaborate on your state of affairs, if you will, or state of the union as it pertains to real estate?
Absolutely. Interest rates are always going to be important to people. It just is what it is. Financials can outweigh our emotions a lot of time. It really comes down to that. That's important to people. People want to know that. So we stay on top of rates. I look at rates every single day, multiple times a day. I talk to you about rates. I talk with my coworkers about rates. I'm talking with clients about rates. Rates are in a good spot right now compared to where they have been. We're basically at the lowest spot in 2025, right?
Right, absolutely.
The lowest since October of last year. From what we've heard, some really good news is coming down the pipeline. It looks like the Fed is going to cut rates, which not directly, but affects interest rates for mortgages, right?
Absolutely.
And so I think we're really optimistic about that. Now, as far as working with buyers, I work with buyers and sellers, as does everyone on my team. So we understand people coming and going. We don't just specialize in one side or the other, right?
Right.
So we're having the conversations about why people aren't selling, which, you know, if you're sitting on a 2.5% rate, maybe you can deal with where you are. We're also talking with people buying, and people buy and sell for a lot of different reasons. You know, life changes, kids, health, relocating, jobs, all of those things. So some folks are going to be more driven by a rate decision than not, right?
Right.
If you're moving because you have to move, well, then you have to work within the rates and, you know, talk about, we have really great indicators where the market is headed. You know, it's a little cliche, but, you know, get the rate, you can refinance, right?
Right.
Because one thing we do know that happens with certainty when rates fall is prices go up.
Right.
Right? So is it going to get you coming or going? Maybe you pay less for the house now than you would in 6 months. And although the rate's a little bit higher because of where we expect rates to go and the indicators are showing they're going to go, you can refinance. Right?
Right.
So you do have options. You can buy down points, all of those things. What I try to do is not get too into the weeds with the rates because that's what my lender partner is for.
That's what we do.
I make the conversation. We start the conversation. I give you enough to kind of be dangerous, and then I connect you with my specialist who really knows the ins and outs. And what I tell all my clients is, hey, look, when you talk to Ben, he's going to figure out what your priorities are in your conversation, and then he's going to give you options that you can choose from. So, you know, A, B, or C. Here's the menu of your choices. What works best for you now? What's going to work best for you down the line?
Right.
And then you can go from there and then make a really informed decision. Our mission that I tell people is to give you, you know, the confidence and the guidance you need to make a decision that you're really happy with.
Right.
Right. It's not about me selling a house. When people come to me, it's not because I'm convincing them to sell or convincing them to buy. They've already made their mind up. It's just I pride on myself on being the person who's going to communicate the best, give you the access to the resources, help you disseminate all the information so you're making an informed decision you feel really comfortable.
And that's mission critical when you're selecting a realtor or even a mortgage lender. It's somebody that's going to be informative, communicate well with you, and have your best interests at heart. And I know that Doug and his team at the Ocean Air Realty certainly have that in mind with each and every person they talk to. I know that because I've done a lot of loans for their clients, and they all love them. So it's like I said, it's nice to have folks on the show that I actually know personally and can say, hey, you know, they do the deal. They don't just talk the talk; they walk the walk. You know, and Doug, you made a very valid point too when you talk about interest rates dropping and home values going up, prices of homes going up. You know, I have been saying the same thing for the last several months to a lot of folks, the last year really. You know, yeah, you're going to pay more for the house when rates drop because of the fact that all the folks that have been waiting for the rate drops. That's right. There's been a lot of people riding the fence, and when those people come into the fray, you know, you can get into multiple offer situations that arise.
Yes.
You know, and that can.
And we're seeing those now.
Yeah. Yeah, you're seeing them
We're
again.
More. Yeah,
Okay.
and that's one of those leading indicators where the market's headed when those start popping up. It's funny. So to bring everybody into a story, real life example. We had a client close yesterday. He's been looking for a house for like 4 years. He didn't buy when rates were in the 2s and 3s, and then he took some time off because he didn't want to buy at 7. So you know, a lot of people try to time the market. Don't try to time the market. Figure out what your options are. Work within your means, and you can always make a different decision later on.
That's right.
Right. I mean, nothing. Most folks stay in their homes 3 to 5 years on average. Now, it's probably been that average probably creeped up the last few years just because where rates have been. But historically, people aren't moving into the forever homes, especially in their 20s and their 30s,
Right.
and maybe even their 40s.
So, Doug, to your point about the market starting to pick up, we're seeing a lot more activity with buyers coming back into the fray. People are selling their homes quicker than they were even a month ago.
Yeah.
Do you attribute that? Let's talk specifically about the Raleigh market in Wake County. Okay. Do you attribute that to a lot of the businesses that have been attracted to North Carolina to set up shop in Raleigh? Do you see a lot of folks that are moving here and, like what you said, by necessity they need to buy a house because they're taking a new position? Yeah. Do you attribute a lot of the Raleigh and Wake County success as to the new job opportunities and developments?
Oh, I absolutely do. You know, Raleigh's had a ton of growth. When I went there in 1997 to go to NC State, it's a lot different than it was back then. But hey, Wilmington, where we are today, it's grown as well.
That's right.
And that's because North Carolina overall is a destination. People like our climate. They like the beaches. They like the mountains. They like the city. They like our education. They like our health care. They like our cost of living. They like our tax rates. So for a lot of reasons, North Carolina is really popular.
Absolutely.
I think one word kind of sums it up is opportunity. You know, an opportunity to have access to all of those things.
Well, and geography-wise, too. You got the mountains out to the west. You've got the beach to the east. And you got beautiful land in between. So it seems like it doesn't take too long to get to those areas either. Like Raleigh's pretty centrally located. Yeah. So 2 hours to the beach, 3 hours to the mountains? Mm-hmm. Kind of the best of all worlds. And I know you enjoy the mountains about as much as you enjoy the beach too.
Well, I try to, but I have to work, and my wife likes to go to the beach a lot too. So we're at the beach a lot more than when we're in the mountains.
Well, either way, it's like I said, it's just beautiful scenery and a beautiful place to live. Doug, as it pertains to listing a home, you know, a lot of folks I talk to that just in personal conversations, they feel like that listing their home is a very daunting task. Can you kind of elaborate on how yourself and your team members at Oceanair Realty help prep and really guide individuals along in the pre-listing stages,
Sure.
if you will, to get the house ready?
Well, kind of unlike working with buyers, which the work is done kind of throughout the process, the heavy lifting in listing a home is really up front because it's all about informing, giving advice, and then doing the prep work. Right? You know, helping them understand the process, which is obviously very important, answering all the questions so people understand kind of what to expect along the way, and then really giving them a list of things to say, hey, look, based on my experience, because I've worked with a lot of sellers, and I'm also walking through homes now with buyers, so I know what they're talking about. I know what they're looking for. I know what they point out that works and doesn't work and those things. So here's my recommendations to get your place ready to list, because we want to get maximum impact. We want to get maximum eyes on the property. And that starts with great photography, which everyone does photography for their listings. It's not all great, right? So it's good to have a good partner that can really put your best foot forward. If they don't like those first couple of pictures online, they're never going to book an appointment with me or anybody else, right? So we got to really wow them right away online. And that starts with following my advice to get ready,
right?
You know, so that's kind of where it goes from there. You know, from the listing standpoint and helping people understand the process, my mindset is always nothing has to be that complicated. I think we get in our way a lot.
That's true.
It comes down to getting it ready. It comes down to understanding the timing. It comes down to where you're going to go next. It comes down to what's your expectation of a sales price versus what the data is telling us. And, you know, everyone is going to be is going to want more for their home. And as an agent who works on commission, obviously I want you to sell it for as much as possible. But that doesn't mean we're going to get that amount that you have in mind or that, God forbid, Zillow gave you, right? So talk to me so we can actually look at the data together and I can show you where my estimate came from. Zillow can't show you where it came from. Right. It's just a number that pops up on the screen, right? I can show you how I wrote that number. And then we can make an informed decision going forward, put together a plan for an initial list price. If we have to adjust based on feedback we get, and kind of go from there.
I think the big thing you said there too is the fact that you all work with so many buyers. You know what they're looking for. I mean, there's a lot of listing agents out there that just list. They don't work with buyers, and it's really good to have both sides of that perspective, because you know what the hot button issues are. You know what to tackle. So you're not giving them a punch list of 100 different items that maybe 60 really won't matter, right? You're giving them 4 to 5 different bullet points of things that in your experience with buyers that really move them along, if you will.
Right. When I meet a seller and I go to their home, the first thing we do is they give me a tour. And so I talk to them as we're doing that tour like a buyer would talk to me when we're walking, if I was giving the buyer a tour of the property. And that's just to be brutally honest, because I want to give you all the ammunition you can use to make your house really appealing.
Right. Doug, let's talk about this for a moment. The Oceanair Realty commitment to excellence, if you will. Kind of what you've got a lot of team members that you have really led in a very high regard, very high standard. I know the way you conduct business, and I know your expectation for your team members as such to perform exceptionally well for your clients. I know from my business, and I know you feel the same way, it's not just a one-touch situation. If I do a loan for someone, or if you sell a house for someone or help them buy, it's not just a one-touch deal where we want to work with them for each transaction that they do. The only way we can earn that is through exceptional service and communication and really taking care of our clients. Can you talk to our viewers and listeners out there about the Oceaneer commitment to excellence that you have instilled in the team members and what that looks like?
Well, we are an independent brokerage. We're not a member of a national franchise or anything like that. So everything that's on us is a reflection of who we are and who our brand is, not, assumed because of a commercial you see on TV.
Right. Assumed association, if you will.
Exactly. No. Right. So, our reputation has been built by us. And we are folks that live in the places that you live, whose children go to the schools that your children go to. We shop at the places you do. And all agents are that way to a degree, but it really is important to us. We do want clients for life. We want you to send your cousin or your sister or your coworker to us. That's really important. I'd much rather work with referrals than internet leads, right?
Amen to that.
But that only comes with trust. And I can tell you, when I first started out in real estate, I really got started up and running on those internet leads because I was in my 30s. All my friends had a house. They weren't interested in buying a house. They were already settled. So I had to get out there and really grind to prove to other people that I could be that referral source, and I spent a lot of time doing that, almost 11 years in the business now, and I try to teach those same principles, that same work ethic, that same approach to the agents that work with me and for me, because I want them to have that success.
That's right. It starts with great leadership, and I know Doug has done a great job over the years in not only building the company, but also instilling those values and that skill set into others. So it shows in the client testimonies that I see ravenously, if you will, on social media.
I like to call them our Raven fans. I think we've got about 700 5-star reviews.
That's lovely. I love that.
And again, we're not a huge firm, so we're not doing thousands of transactions a year. I don't want to be a big firm. I want to be a family business. I want to know all of my agents. I want them to be able to call me and I can answer the phone and help them with what's going on in their business, not send them to someone else. That's really important to me.
I think that's key. Leadership on demand, if you will, right? Always there and ready. I've managed a lot in my career as well, so I get that. And I get that. It's a commitment. It's a commitment to the people that trust us. Yeah. When they join up, and very exciting. Doug, I really appreciate you coming on the show today. Do you want to leave our viewers and listeners with a final thought? Yeah. Perhaps, obviously, give your contact information, that kind of thing. But maybe one last pitch to our audience before we have you back on the show soon.
Well, I'd love to be back. And we did the radio show a couple years ago.
We did.
But now the people have to see my face, so I apologize for that, guys. I think that we're in a really interesting time in real estate right now. If you're seriously thinking about making a move to buy or sell, I'm happy to have a conversation with you. No commitment required or anything like that. But let's just talk and let's see if I can do anything to help you now or down the line. I've told people this for years, and again, I've been in the business 11 years. A lot of real estate agents don't make it quite that long. So hopefully I'm doing something right. But your timeline's my timeline. I have a house. I'm okay. I don't need to move. I'll be there when you're ready. But maybe talking now will help you get more ready, or at least understand what your options are. So I'm always happy to talk about that. We're moving in a great direction for buyers, even better with rates going down. But to the point you made earlier, there's more inventory on the market versus buyers than there's been in like 30 years.
Yes.
So maybe rates are a little bit higher than you would like as a buyer, but you really have a lot of choice out there. And buyers are being picky. We see it, because listings are sitting longer than they were.
And you still have with listings too. I know we've done several together as far as the opportunity with 2-1 buy downs.
Yes.
Things like that. If the seller agrees to do that, it'll help your rate significantly the first couple years. And then by that point too, hopefully and projectedly, rates will have dropped to the place where we can refi you. So you're getting a sweet payment initially, and the seller is agreeing to facilitate that 2-1 buy down. And it's just a win-win situation. So Talk to the experts. Give Doug Yopp a call with the Oceaneer Realty today to find out all you need to know. Whether it's buying a home, he'll give you the long and the short of it. Listing a home, he's going to tell you exactly the way that it needs to go, so you can be the most successful during those transactions. Doug, how can our viewers reach you?
Best way to reach me is just by phone. My number is 919-608-2760. Call or text. I'll get right back to you.
And also the website. You've got all your listings on there, a plethora of information.
Yep.
What's the website, Doug?
The website is the Oceaneer, with an E on the end, realty.com. If you want to contact me directly, you can just put Doug right in front of the oceaneerrealty.com. So lots of easy ways to get in touch with me. I'm not hard to find.
Love it, love it. And if any of our viewers out there can't remember that or didn't have a pen to write it down, just reach out to me in the comments section or send me a DM. I'll be happy to connect you with Doug and his amazing team of real estate professionals. Again, Doug, thanks for being on the show. Hope you guys have a great day, and we will see you soon.